how are case managers selected, and are they the same people who are working with Friendship Place, or do you guys have like a separate like sort of team of case managers?
Most of our case managers are the case managers at Friendship Place, and we actually meet with them, Joe and I and a couple other people, on a monthly basis to make sure everything's going well and to talk about problems and to figure out if we're ready to interview new people. We've just brought in a new resident to our condominium that we just bought, and I believe he's getting some of his services from another organization. And we will probably continue with that, although he still will kind of go through Friendship Place. But they really make a big difference to us and to people like George as well.
So is it somebody that they've already established a relationship with at Friendship House, and then they come to you and they keep that same caseworker?
It varies from person to person. Sometimes it is. Sometimes they've gotten case management services elsewhere. Sometimes they're just completely new to the system and they'll have to establish a relationship. They have a pretty strong team of case managers, so it works really nicely.
Community Council for the Homeless, I'm sorry, the Community Council for the Homeless is like the sort of go-to organization in the District of Columbia for homelessness. I mean, they're a very well thought of organization. They're very, very well run. You know, I think we've all been very impressed with them. But the one that this other gentleman that has a different case manager is from, what's?
Clarendon Center.
Clarendon Center. They also are very good. So if we got into a situation where we thought that the case management was very weak, we would certainly make a recommendation. I mean, it's to our benefit. We need strong case management.
There was a time early on when we had some case management from the DC government, and it really wasn't satisfactory, and we gradually moved everybody over to Friendship Place. So I think this new person is the only one who's not here at this point.
If a resident doesn't have any sort of income at all, is there any leniency in like how the amount of money that they have to pay?
In general, we like to take people who have some kind of Social Security income, and as I said, we require them to pay the $200 rent. We have had situations where people have applied for their Social Security and haven't gotten it, or they have been on unemployment and they haven't gotten it, and we do everything we can to make it possible for them to stay there. We have someone right now who's in between receiving unemployment and getting her Social Security. She's applied for it, and it's just a question of how long it takes for her to get it. And so we've reduced her rent to only $60 a month so that she can manage on her very limited income. But she will hopefully pay us back, and she wants to as well.
One of the recommendations of the national organizations for homelessness is that a 25%, the minimum of 25% residents' income is paid towards their housing, so that they have buy-in into the situation. So 25% is very doable, and again, Hazel mentioned the one woman. She has this. We're not kicking people out because they can't pay for month to month. That's, I mean, if they were getting their full SSI thing and essentially blowing it, there would be issues with the case management.
You spoke a little bit about the complexity of running an organization that's completely volunteer based. So it would probably take really strong leadership. So I was just wondering what like your respective educational backgrounds are, your respective business backgrounds are.
Well, I'm a realtor. That's one of the reasons I was recruited, because I've been very involved in more of the property management issues and the acquiring of apartments and condos. My background is I graduated. I have a master's in healthcare administration, and I was in hospital administration for many years before I was a realtor. So sort of a general business background. And actually, that healthcare background gives me a little bit of familiarity with just sort of what goes on in mental health and stuff.
And I had been the director of the National Public Health Association for many years, executive director, so similarly I've got some feel for the general field. But we've got people on our board who are lawyers, which is very useful. We have social workers, which is very useful. And people with just general executive kinds of backgrounds. We have someone who's a communications director. So we really do look for people who have the kinds of skills that.
What we really need is we're really looking for a finance accountant type of board member. So, yeah, I mean, if we don't have it on the board, then we find somebody to give us some help. But it is a complex thing, and I think that our board is very good at, when we need expertise in a particular area, the person that can do that does it. So.
One of the things in the slideshow was that the residents are unable to work. Do residents who have been like on medication and have been seeing like caseworkers, do some of them look for employment?
It's a good question. We've had a couple of people who have really done so well once they've been in a permanent housing situation that they are able to at least do some volunteer work and maybe do some part-time work. We have not yet had a situation where somebody is able to work enough to be really self-sufficient. If that were to happen, we would, I think, try to get that person to move on to even more independent living so that we could use that facility for someone else. But in general, it's a delicate balance, and people really are not suddenly able to go out and work 40 hours a week and make a living.
George, you look like you had something to speak to that. Did you have a comment to add to Nate's question?
Yeah, well, I am unable to work. It's my education, my mental illness, and I do a lot of volunteer work. Okay, that's what keeps me going. The volunteerism. I'm out in the community. I'm not just sitting at home, watching TV all day long. I'm out in the community doing things. So that gets me involved. And that's.
George is very modest, but George is like, he's like on the speakers bureau for the homeless, and he's spoken nationwide, and I mean, really.
Yes, I've spoken nationwide, and here in DC, but.
We're privileged to have him in our organization because he's a good advocate for our organization, so.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question, Cameron.
I was just wondering, do some of your people who are with you at the Imprint House, do they also get income due to disability? Because my uncle is unemployed right now. He gets income from being disabled. Is that one of the other ways? Because I know that you said Social Security is one way that they get their income and unemployment. Are there other ways that they get income in order to pay off rent?
Actually, the Social Security that they get is disability. It is disability.
It's a Social Security disability as
right.
opposed to a disability you might get from your former employer. Social Security pays.
It's
There's
a
different categories.
It's a mental illness disability.
I thought it was more based on age, not.
Oh, Social Security
Social in general is
but,
based on
but there
age.
are, if you are a young person and you are disabled, you will get a Social Security. I mean, it's not easy to get, but you get, it's Social Security disability. So
Great.
yes, you don't have to be 62.
I'm glad you asked that
yeah.
because you're right. I mean, ordinarily you have to be 65 or now 66 to get Social Security.
Great. Well, that was a good clarifying question to end on, and I just want to give a big thank you to George, Hazel, Joe.
Thank you all.
And George, I want to say on my behalf and hopefully for the group, we have a lot of homeless people in the community and we often see them, we don't often get a chance to hear from them, and I appreciate you being here and talking to us.
Well, I thank you. If you want to hear me talk, just call me.
Okay.
Yeah. He doesn't have an agent yet.
First, the other thing that's good about George is he can gear it to any time limit. He can do
Sometimes
10
5
minutes or an
minutes,
hour and
10
a half.
5
Very good.
minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you want.
Well, it was, I think for me
Thank you.
personally, very enlightening to hear you speak.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm
thank you
gonna-
very much.
Thank
I hope it was good.
Much. I'm going to give each of you a flyer. It's a tiny bit out of date inside, but on the back is our website if you want to take a look. And inside there's a blue sheet that has poems written by another of our residents who's also a very interesting man, and I think you'll enjoy taking a look at those.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody here?
Alright, so we need a little bit of, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, we need a little bit of movement, so if, from here over, if you guys can get up, and quickly just move your chairs back here. We're gonna split you up because we're gonna do 2 debriefs in a short amount of time. Then you come on this side. No, it's where you turn it. And then I need a volunteer from each group to be the scribe or leader. You wanna do it? Pardon? Yes, which one would you like to do? And Frank or Holocaust education? Okay, so this group is gonna do Holocaust education first, and then we're gonna switch, okay? I kind of, whoever was on that side is gonna come over here. You guys are gonna do Anne Frank House, who would like to lead the debrief? Is somebody besides me?
Can he write? He's got a handwriting.
Okay, so Nate, you can do this. No, we're gonna get you sharply. So take a few minutes right now and just kind of write down your thoughts about this presentation so that when we do the debrief, we're gonna do like 5 minutes, and then you're gonna switch organizations. You all will talk about the other organization. We'll try and get this all done in a reasonable amount of time.
Can somebody go out and grab a bunch of markers?
Okay. So it's Nate and Brandon are leading
Alright, whatever this kid says, I disagree with it.
Now I have that line on
Does anybody want to write?